It was interesting. I was reading an article recently talking about the difference in value in what you're buying based on whether you're buying it on in services, based on whether you're buying it on a time and materials basis or an outcome basis. And up front, a lot of organisations will look at an outcome or output based arrangement and say, well, I can't define that. I just need some people to be working.
Yeah.
Oh, they might look at an output-based arrangement and say it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
But there are other things to consider within that. If you can't define what it is you need to get done to start with, even if you can't define the definition stage, then I feel like that has its inherent risks from a strategic point of view in terms of, well, what are you trying to do? Because it's very easy to have people working on something without necessarily a clear end point or outcome. And so therefore costs can run, and therefore is it going to be more expensive? Whereas if you're getting a supplier to deliver something on an outcome or output basis, they're taking risk for delivering something, for pricing it. Obviously there's so much nuance to it. Even if it's an output basis, how is that priced? How is that structured? How is that changing along the way? IT projects, for example, often have iterations, sprints, whatever it might be. But I think the world feels like it's moving more towards an outcome or output-based mindset in a lot of ways, just even if you look at the consumer world, but also how that's transitioning to the business world as well.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think the inherent challenge of services are that getting to outcome-based ways of thinking requires you to have a bit more forward-thinking capacity, like you say, not a never-ending kind of labour arbitrage or a never-ending kind of body shopping of bringing people in and it's just captured in a statement of work. It's more about how would you see that service evolving over the course of time. And I think some of that challenge, therefore, lies in, again, with big organisations. We're probably talking about big organisations here mostly, but in big organisations, the contractual landscape for those big organisations can sometimes be a kind of shooting in the foot of that situation, because they might have a large scale contract, but the statement of work behaviour or the buying of statements through statements of work is not really tallied up with that overall master services contract, and therefore the outcomes are mismatched as a result. And as a procurement person or as somebody in the business, you're trying to marry the outcomes with the stakeholder needs. But if you can't tally up what's going on in terms of the way you buy off your framework agreements or the way that you buy off the strategic things that you've been developing in the first place, then there's always going to be this mismatch, and that's probably frustrating for stakeholders as well.